All right, let's do our echo check first because I've been having some problems with this. Let's give this about 10-15 seconds, see if the echo kicks in. If it does, I know how to fix it. But all right, so far so good. Let me know how you guys hearing this. Is the audio coming through 5x5? Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Friday Night Prepper pre-party show. I appreciate you joining me and giving me a little bit of your Friday on this wintry weekend. For those of you who are in the northern states, we are going to get soaked here. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, chat. Appreciate you. And thank you to the mods who are here early. Really appreciate everybody. And Scott for coming in early and warming up the crowd. You guys are awesome. I have the best audience here on YouTube. I really do. You guys know the rules here. I'm just going to kind of skip all that mumbo jumbo. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about winter storm preparedness because that's what we're looking at already. We are heading into this. I don't know if we're going to have a bad winter or a cold winter. I can tell you that here in the South, it has been a very cold fall. And I don't know what that means for, the Farmer's Almanac said for my region here in Charleston, South Carolina, said cold and dry. Okay, I can deal with that. I don't mind the cold weather. I don't love slush and ice and things like that. So we're going to do some tips here tonight for winter storm preparedness. Anybody in chat? I know I got a ton of preppers in the chat. So anybody in chat who wants to, oh, Scott, you rock. I appreciate it. I'm about to get to that in just a second. Anybody in chat who wants to throw in tips, just go ahead and add them in, and we'll kind of hit them as we go. I am on the last leg now with Scott's donation here. We only need $10 more to unlock the frog suit for the live stream giveaway, where Sarge will dress in a frog suit for the end of the year giveaway, which is coming up very, very soon here. So we get $10 more tonight. We are there. I will wear a frog suit and humiliate myself on the internet for you guys because I love you guys and I care about you guys. All right, one more last little announcement here. We do have a poll up at the top. If you can, go ahead and check that poll, and I will I'll check that again at the end to see how you guys voted on that. And if you didn't see, I am in this month's issue. I have an article in this month's issue of Backwoods Survival Guide. My article is on page 58, so you should be able to find this at your bookstore or hopefully your grocery store. But this article here on page 58 is mine, which is about foraging Yupon. So Jim Cobb, awesome writer in the survival and off-grid homesteading world. Really honored that he let me write an article for him. So Jim, if you're watching this, thank you so much. There's other great writers in here too, including Craig Caudill and my friend Carly Fairchild, who's been on the channel a couple times here. So check that out. I actually have another magazine article coming out for another magazine, but I can't tell you the details on that yet because it's not out yet. So I'm not allowed to talk about the details of it until it's out. All right, let's check chat real quick, and then we're going to roll. Done frog suit. Did you give me two? Oh, man, Scott, you're the best. You are the best, brother. All right, frog suit's unlocked. Sarge is going to humiliate himself at the end of the year for you all. We're going to do some giveaways. I've got some Amazon cards. Actually, they're right here. Got some Amazon cards. They're going to be going away. We're going to be doing that at the end of the year. Y'all can give thanks to Scott because we're going to make that. He's the one who's going to make that extra fun for you. So, Scott, thank you so much for being a huge supporter to this channel. It really does mean a lot to me. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Let's go ahead and say hi to chat here real quick. I know I saw Virginia Bushcrafter, Cold War Prepper Lee, thank you for joining us. Coffee First, Then Speak, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Who else did I see here? I think I saw Prepper for the Ages. Yep, that's right. I think I saw Mike come in here. Let's talk about Mike's video here for a second, too. Lazarus Long, thank you. Appreciate you. There we go. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. So you guys know we're doing that collaboration, the Doomsday Bingo card, 2026 Doomsday Bingo card. Mike's video is out. I put a link for that in my community posts page, so you can go to that and go right to it. Check out his video. He had the letter I. Next up is the letter N. We got 5 people doing this. So it's myself, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, Livingston Man, Vision Preparedness, and Pete the Roman Prepper. And then sometime early 2026, we'll all get together and do a little live stream, review it, and we'll probably do a couple little giveaways there as well. So make sure you check out Mike's video. That's part 2 in the series. All right. If I missed anybody saying hi, I apologize. Burpee Yoga Uncle, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you. Cool. Homestead Engineering, thanks for joining. Appreciate you. It's good to see you, my friend. Awesome. Oh, sorry. You guys can hear I'm still getting over that cold. I'm much better. Yeah, thank you for sharing that out. I appreciate you. No problem. Need cookbook with your sister. Oh, when you're talking about when my sister was on Codename Alice. Sorry, I didn't want to give her real name here. Codename Alice. Yeah, we did some canning and stuff like that. I got to get her back into Charleston. She doesn't live here with me. If she comes back in, we'll do some more stuff together. We had a lot of fun filming that one and told some stories about our childhood and stuff like that. All right, cool. So let's go into this. These are your winter storm preparedness tips. You all can, I'm going to mark where I left off on chat here. Gus Wolf, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Yeah, she was fun. She definitely did a good job on that live stream. You guys can throw out your tips in chat as well. All right. So number one, I'm going to say and I haven't always lived in the South, by the way. I grew up in Boston, so I've seen my share of snow. I lived for 10 years in Kentucky, so I've seen my share of ice storms. In fact, lived through a pretty awful ice storm where we actually had no heat, no power for quite a long period of time, and was pretty okay until like third day, at which point started to notice like feeling in our fingertips was getting pretty bad. So we did have to evacuate at that point. At which point, so whenever you have a situation like that, and you should do a post-event analysis and like what could we have done better. That's what, after a storm or after a power outage, after any major emergency, you should always do like an after action analysis and just like what could we have done better. We ended up buying kerosene heaters because of that incident after that. Okay, but first tip is know your forecast, right? It is your responsibility to stay on top of this. I know a lot of people don't watch TV anymore. I get it. I the news is nothing but like doom porn, and some of the mainstream media is just flat out lies to you. So I get why people don't want to watch it anymore. But download your weather apps and things like that. Check it at least once a week so you know what's going on. You don't want to be blindsided when something's coming into town because there are some things that you want to do in advance. So number one is know your forecast. Also, if we're going to make some gear recommendations here, I'd say I recommend you get a NOAA weather radio. Now, if you have a Baofeng radio, which is many of the preppers and people in the prepping community like the Baofeng radios, you can program those to pick up the NOAA signal for your area. So just go online and get some directions on that, or probably Orlando Prepper probably has instructions on that because he did a whole series about comms this summer. So NOAA weather radio on your smartphones. Make sure you're downloading your local weather channel. Whatever that is for your area. We find that for us, the local weather forecaster that we follow, his name's Rob Fowler. I don't mind giving him a shout out here. He's a good dude. We find he's way more accurate than the national forecast for our areas. Why? Because he knows our area. He's been doing the forecasts here for like over 30 years, I think. So he knows our waters. He knows the way the winds hit the buildings here and how that changes the direction of storms and things like that. So local weather forecast is usually going to be more accurate than the national weather forecast, but it's okay to look at both. Number two, create a family emergency plan. So this goes for so many situations in preparedness, but having fallback points that all the adults in the family and teenagers in the family, if something happens in an emergency and you can't get back to home, where are you going, right? So that we know how to reach you or where we're going to find you if the towers go down and we can't reach you through phones, right? A meetup spot. And I would recommend that you have a backup meetup spot as well. So have a family emergency plan. If there's going to be like early dismissals, who's going to pick up the kids from school, things like that. And just kind of stay on top of that. Again, the more you know in advance, if a snowstorm or winter ice storm or something like that, lake effect snow is coming to you, the better and the easier it is to stay on top of that with your family and be like, okay, hey, listen, we know there's a blizzard coming in Friday. Right now, the schools are open. We know, and this happens here, stuff like this with flooding, right? there's a good, we can predict pretty accurately, like they're going to close the schools, and usually we're right. So if you kind of know what's likely to happen, you can plan accordingly, and who's going to get the kids, pick them up from school or whatever. You need to, and this is going to vary depending on which person in the preparedness community you're listening to. This is number 3. You need to have a minimum of a 3-day supply of food and drinking water, right? And you can now, after, I understand that storing more water than that is kind of hard, so then you need to have a way to purify water and a way to store water, right? But this also includes your pets. Now, if you're going to get into this a little bit more than just like your average person, then how much food you store, that's going to depend on your comfort level and how much space you have and your budget. 2 weeks is a good goal for a lot of people. But if you've got space, maybe you go for a couple months, right? If you've got tons of space and a huge budget, maybe you go for a year's supply, which is going to include like freeze-dried foods and stuff like that. But for the average person that's probably not going to do those things, that might be just checking this out because the winter storm's coming in, let's say a minimum of 3 or 4 days. Canned goods, dried goods, stuff that you can easily eat without having to heat up. Granola bars, cereals are good for this. Comfort foods, have some snacks in there for the kids and for the adult kids. It's a morale booster. I like my snacks. Sweets, things like that, just kind of lift you up when there's no power on, people are feeling kind of grumpy. Chocolate chip cookie sure could cheer people up. Or if you're a fan of Steve's channel, you get like a lifetime supply of Cheez-Its, right? Cheetos. I'm just kidding, Steve. Let me do one more, and then I'm going to go to the chat and see what you all are suggesting here. So number 4 for me is preparing for power outages. Yes, ice storms absolutely will knock out power. As I said, we lived through one that was I think it was, when all said and done, most people didn't have their power back for like a week. And then some people, it was even, if you were out in the rural areas, out in the country, it can be longer than that. Their priority is going to be by density of population, and they're going to restore power there, and by the hospitals, and by the grocery stores, and by the emergency shelters. If you live out in a farm in the middle of the country, you are not a high priority for them. But they also, there's some expectation that like those people should be a little bit more self-sufficient, right? So you need to plan for possible power outages. If you look at the QR up there, that's going to take you to Amazon, where to the Opus store. They're a great company. They make power stations and power supplies, solar generators, or some people call them solar power stations. I don't care what you call them. But basically, there's small ones, medium-sized ones, and big ones. The big ones can do a lot of stuff. You can run some lights off those. You can run some fans off those. You can recharge your phone and your tablet so that you can watch some movies and play some games. You can run electric blankets off those, which is a great way to stay warm without having to heat the entire house. There's trying to think what else we've run off of ours. Electric blankets. You cannot, they do have limitations. It's not going to run a space heater for very long. It's just not. They're not. It's too much energy draw. They can't do that, right? So don't think that like, oh, I'm going to get a solar power station and I'm just going to run space heaters. It's probably not going to work for you. You're probably going to, if you want to try to do that, you're probably going to have to get like a diesel power, gas powered, propane powered generator, something with a little bit more power and sustainable power, right? If you want to do something like that. But of course, a wood burning stove or fireplace is probably a better option. Kerosene heaters are an option. And though, yeah, they are safe, you should crack your window, watch the pets and little kids around them so that they don't hit it and knock it over. But if you follow directions and are careful with it, lots of people use kerosene heaters, right? Lots and have for a very, very long time. Those little buddy propane heaters, those are actually pretty good for one room, for like a small room. It'll keep you alive. So those are some options there for your power outages. Lanterns, rechargeable flashlights, right? Like, so some of my flashlights are battery powered. Some of them are rechargeable battery powered, right? So like with my solar power station, I can run that run those for a very long time without having to worry about replacing batteries. Or you can get the rechargeable batteries and charge them off with a solar power station. So that, like, if you check that out, you click on that and you go to the Amazon store and you see some of the examples of what I'm talking about, that gives you a lot of options for power outages. We love our power station, use it all the time. It's probably one of the best, penny for penny preps that we've ever purchased. We get a ton of use out of ours. I use it camping. My wife uses it when she's vending. We've used it for power outages, definitely. And it's a really nice thing to have. All right, let me pause where I'm at and check your chat, see what you guys are suggesting. Okay, there's where I left off. Boston, yes. Boston's awesome, man. I enjoyed living up there. Just the winters are rough, and the cost of living is very expensive up there. $15 in a hammock with the angry prepper. Woo! So the coldest that I can remember camping in was in a cabin, was in the teens. So I don't know if that counts or not. It was cold, but we did have a fireplace. Coldest in a tent was that I can remember camping was low 40s. And if you've got good gear, it's actually not bad. It's when you get up in the morning and you have to get out of your sleeping bag, that's when it hits you. Yeah, I hear that, Scott. I hear that. I've seen my share of winter storms, that's for sure. I know I will see more because I go up and visit those areas, but I don't need to see more. Yeah, and if you set it's exactly right, Burpee Yoga Uncle. If you set those apps notifications on, it will tell you. We get notifications all the time, like flooding on this street, because our city's very prone to flooding. That's the most common thing. But storm warning, rain is coming. It's pretty helpful. Yep, with those Baofangs, you can do the frequency scan and find the NOAA weather radio channel for your area. It's pretty easy to do. Hey, Black Guns and Gardens. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a good Friday. Excuse me. Yeah, I hear that, Coffee First. The biggest squirrel for me is, like, I go on Reddit sometimes, and I have this love-hate relationship with Reddit. But I go in there and I start reading comments, and then I'll lose track of time. And but Reddit can be pretty. It's not what it used to be. Reddit used to function that, like, if somebody wrote a good article, people would upvote it, and if they didn't write a good article, it would get downvoted. The way it works now, unfortunately, is people agree with you, or they like your politics, and they will upvote you. And if they don't agree with you, whether you're articulate or not, they'll downvote you. So it's become kind of a toxic platform, but I still like it in some ways. There's some cool stuff on there for science and physics, and there's a good gold forum that I really like on there. I go on the gold forum almost every day, see what people are saying. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying this so far, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to check in the description down below for some product discounts that I think you will enjoy. Orlando Prepper, good to see you. Did he pop in? Yeah, there he is. It's good to see you. I was mentioning you before about the video series that you did on comms. Not frozen water. Yeah, you want to be able to melt it. Buy all the milk and bread. Oh, exactly. Milk, bread, and eggs. We've been without power for 11 days during an ice storm. Yeah, that'll definitely test your preps, won't it? Half cow to the freezer. Nice. Yep. Charge up all. Yes. Good. Thank you for saying that, Coffee First. Charge up your flashlights, pull out your battery banks, make sure everything's charged up, get the laundry done beforehand, before a storm. Really good advice there. Really good advice. Thank you for saying that. Hey, Teresa Buchanan, good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Yeah, they so little fans will do okay for me with my solar power station. Big fans probably gonna eat it up pretty quick. A coffee maker will eat it up really quick, and heaters will eat it up really quick. They're just not really, those power stations are not designed to be able to run that kind of stuff. But the Mr. Buddy heater, yep, that's a great prep to have. And they have those on Amazon. Put it, you know what you can do too? Like if you don't have the money, put it in your cart and then save it for later, and it'll let you know. Check it periodically. It'll tell you if the price drops. Yep. Kerosene heaters are fine as long as people follow the directions. They're people freak out about them, and you have to be safe. Crack your window. Watch little kids and pets so they don't knock it over. Somebody needs to be in the room. Just like if you were running a candle, somebody should be in the room watching it. Nice. There you go. Coffee first. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be so happy that you have that. All right. If I missed anybody, I apologize. There you go. Another Opus fan. Cool. Just scrolling down, see if I miss anything big. If you have natural gas in your house, I should have mentioned this too. And I know some areas are banning natural gas, which I think is absolutely stupid. Natural gas is just like propane and kerosene. As long as you're careful and you know how to use it, it's safe. You can, with a natural gas stove, turn on your oven and bake something. And then when you're done baking it, let the hot air out. That will help a little bit. And that, we love our natural gas stove because when the power's out, we can still cook with that. Sub Dogs, good to see you. Appreciate you. Here we go. The Baofeng GM15 Pro is GMS with programmed NOAA in it. Okay. Good recommendation. GMRS. Cool. All right. Buddy heaters are amazing. Yep. A lot of people recommending those. There you go. I don't I don't know how many I have in the cart right now. I'll take a look later. I cleared out a lot of stuff at Christmas time because there was some good. At Black Friday because there was some good sales. Give the gift to absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. We're gonna probably get into medications here in a second. All right, so let me mark where I left off here. Why are you saying no gas stove? Burpee Yoga Uncle, why are you saying no gas stove? Do you don't have one or you don't recommend them? All right, going on. So number 5, if you are running a fuel-based generator, gasoline or diesel or propane or natural gas, check it in advance of the storm. Let it run for a few minutes. Make sure you've done the maintenance on it. Know how to use those. Not indoors, right? They need to be able to breathe. They need to be. You got to watch out for the carbon monoxide with that kind of stuff, right? So get educated, read your manuals, follow directions, and it's safe. When accidents happen, it's because people weren't following the recommendations and weren't being safe. Number 6, winterize your home. You can get that foam to insulate your pipes. If you know the temperature is going to be below freezing, open up the cabinets around your sinks. It lets a little bit more warm air in there, so you try to help prevent your pipes from freezing. You can drip your faucets. That will help a little bit. Pipe insulation. If you have hoses plugged in outside, unplug your hoses. You can get those foam insulators for your outside spigots as well. All of that's a good idea. Another thing for winterizing your home, if you don't have double pane windows, if your windows are really old, get that plastic seal. I think it's made by 3M. You put some tape up, you put a piece of plastic over it, over your window, and then you run the hairdryer to tighten it up. That will give you a little bit more insulation so you're not losing as much heat through those old single pane windows. There's a reason why most of those in the country have been replaced. But if you live in like an old house or farmhouse or something like that, you probably still have some single pane windows. Use that plastic sheet because you'd be surprised how much heat loss you're losing through there. That was an issue when I lived in Kentucky, so we had to go through and hit all of the windows except for a few that weren't single pane. All right, check your heating systems. Do your maintenance before the winter, right? If you have a company that comes in and services your stuff, we pay a company to come in and they do like a complete tune-up on our heat pump once a year. Do it right before the winter. Get it serviced. Chimney. Make sure you get your chimney cleaned out if you use a fireplace or a wood-burning stove before the season starts. Check your smoke detectors. Check your CO detectors. Do all of this in advance of the winter. Car kit. We've done videos about the car kits before. If you are thinking you're going to have to be traveling in the winter time, which if you're living in the Northeast, yeah, you're probably going to have to at some point this winter. Keep some extra blankets in your car. Keep sand or ice melt or kitty litter for traction. A little shovel in your trunk. Of course, I recommend ice scrapers and a snow brush. Anything else you guys can think of there for car vehicle kit, throw it in the chat. Whether you're inside or outside, dress in layers, right? And when I had no power and no heat in my house during the ice storm, that's kept us warm for 3 days until like our extremities started feeling it. Dress in layers, right? Thin, loose layers, but multiple, right? Because it creates that air insulation pocket, and that actually will help keep you warm. Well, if you're camping in really cold weather, that's how I do it. I wear multiple layers, and then I go into my 0-degree bag. And then I cover my head with a winter hat, because you do lose some heat through your head too, especially like us bald guys. Stay hydrated, right? When it's wintertime, I get it. Like, I don't want to drink as much water. You still have to stay hydrated. Warm soups, that can count. So that can actually heat your insides too. So if you know you have to travel, pack a thermos. My wife is actually working tonight, and it's really cold tonight here. She packed a thermos full of warm broth. What else? Overexertion. This is a big one. Lots of people in the Northeast have heart attacks during the wintertime, snow shoveling. If you've never had to do this because you live in Texas or Georgia or whatever, snow shoveling sucks. Okay. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Snow shoveling sucks. It feels like your heart is going to bust out of your chest when you're snow shoveling. So be careful, especially even if you think like, oh, I'm a fit person. It's very physically demanding work to shovel snow. If you're an elderly person or if you're haven't been in good shape, do it in small amounts and take a lot of breaks. I know you want to get it done. I get it. But there are a ton of heart attacks in the wintertime from snow shoveling. It's a huge, huge thing, right? If you can afford a snowblower, that definitely is going to make it easier. Not everybody can afford it. I understand. If you are an elderly person and you can afford it, maybe consider hiring somebody to do that for you. Okay. It's a huge risk, folks. It's a huge risk. I hated snow shoveling. Like, worst physical activity. All right, let me pause there, and I got a couple more, but I want to check your chat again. I'll scroll up. There we go. That's where I left off. Cool. 105 items and saved for later. I love it. I love gas stove. Even when the power out, the stove will work. Yep. No, what I mean is there's no gas stove. There will be no Asian cooking. I got you. Okay. Hey, Utah Mike's good to see you. Appreciate you. Missed the pipe. Oh, sorry to hear that. I hope you didn't take any damage. Just scrolling down. I want to see if I did. Dawn TV, it's good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Thanks for joining us. Nebo lanterns. No problem. I love my Nebo lanterns. In fact, they run on AAA batteries. When we've had power outages here, we will take one of the Nebo lanterns and basically turn it on, like I think medium, because I think you could switch it from like low, medium to high, and put it in the front room. And basically, to anybody going by, it says there are people in this house, and our neighbors have said, well, yeah, we could see that light from the road. Which, I've talked about this here before, but when we have hurricanes here, a lot of people will evacuate, and then the ne'er-do-wells see that as like a gold mine, because they'll go around to the people that evacuated and will loot their houses. So you want to show that you're home, because all they do is they go on to the next place. It's a real problem here. Nebo lanterns are fantastic. If you have exposed pipes, yeah, pool noodles can work. Good suggestion there. Good suggestion. Yeah, for wrapping around your pipes. Oh, thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Yeah, and your base layer, right, Virginia Bushcraft, or your base layer, if you want that to be like one of the really thin moisture wicking materials, right? Like Under Armour, or it doesn't have to be Under Armour, because I know Under Armour's stuff can be expensive. There are knockoff brands that are a little bit more affordable, but that base layer, you want to pull the moisture away from your body, your sweat. Snow blowers are great for people that can get them. They're really handy to have. Hey, Doug. Hope you're having a good night. Good to see you. Oh, there's a good acronym for us there. Clean, don't overheat, loose layers, stay dry. There you go. There you go. Hey, Jamerica, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Yep, clean those chimneys, folks. You want to do that. You want to do it before the winter if you can. Good suggestion there from Utah Mike. Make sure you know how to turn off your main water line and drain your lines. Getting the laundry done ahead. Yep. Just in case the power goes out, you don't have to worry about that for a few days, and you get extra layers, right? All right, cool. Got a couple more for you here. Prep for your pets, right? So the expression, if it's cold outside, they're cold outside. You need to plan accordingly, right? Like, I understand that sometimes, like, I had livestock in Kentucky, we had to make preps for them when the weather was really extremely cold. So we ran hot water. These things, I don't know what it's called. These things that would keep their water from freezing. We did heat lamps, and it kept our livestock alive. We of course lost livestock here and there to like predators, or sometimes they just die of old age or whatever. But I don't think we ever lost one to freezing, because we took really good care of them when it came to that stuff. If you have horses, get yourself some winter horse blankets, right? But we also felt like, as the fall weather was coming in, we wouldn't necessarily, like the first time it was cold, we wouldn't necessarily rush to use those blankets on them, because we wanted them to also build up their natural coat. Horses will build up a little bit of a winter coat. So we would let them build that up. And then when it got into the depths of winter, then we added the blankets as well. Same thing. There was these devices that you could put in their water, so their water wouldn't freeze, so they could stay hydrated, because their water will freeze too, and that's not fair. If you have outdoor cats, and like barn cats and stuff like that, make sure they've got a good shelter for the winter. Make sure that they've got a place where they can go in and at least get dry and get shelter from the snow. I know a lot of people around here they'll leave their garage door, their garage door, the big door, open a little bit, so that like pets wild cats and stuff can go in there. I'm not even talking about like their domesticated pets. There's just a lot of wild cats in our area, like house cats, but they're not domesticated. They're kind of feral. And so a lot of people around here, when it gets cold, they'll leave their garages open a little bit, so the pets have somewhere to go and get dry and warm. Make sure you buy their food in advance. Don't run out of their food like as the storm's happening. Buy their food in advance. Stay informed, right? Like, so if you lose power, you still need to know what's going on. Is there an evacuation going on in your area? Is there looting in your area? So that's why you're going to have a little radio, or a way to. Our smartphones have always worked, but what if they didn't, right? Like, so you want to have a backup system, that kind of thing. A way to monitor the news, what's going on, are there road closings, things like that. Prepare for your medical. This is what I was talking about before. prepare for your medical needs in advance. So down the bottom there, you see I'm scrolling Jace Medical. If you have medications that you rely on, heart medicine, seizure medicine, blood pressure, asthma, get a supply of medications in advance. And Jace Medical will do that for not for a lot of medications. They have their list on their website, so you can go and check to see if they have the medication that you take. Get a year's supply of it, right? So that if you can't leave the house because you're snowed in for 3 days, you don't have to worry about like, oh, I ran out of my medications, right? And I would also say get yourself some antibiotics and an anti-parasite kit while you're there as well. If you can't afford all that right now, get what you can and then just plan to add to your preps when you're able to do that. Also learn your natural remedies as well and plan for that. Like I have asthma, so I grow things here that are good for asthma, rosemary and wild onions, things like that, right? So things that I know that are good for asthma. I grow oregano every year because oregano is good for antiviral and antibiotic and antifungal. So know your natural remedies, prep for your medical needs, get your first aid kit supplies in advance. And then after the storm, as soon as it's safe, check your roof, right? We've seen this a lot in the Northeast where if there's really dense, heavy, wet snowfall, your roof can collapse. So if you're physically fit, somebody might have to go up there and clear the snow off the roof if it's very, very heavy. Go outside, look at your roof, see how thick it is, pick some up off the ground. Does it feel like that thick, heavy snow? If it is, you might have a problem. So just be aware that that's like one of the things you unfortunately have to deal with sometimes if you live in those areas. Check on your neighbors that might be elderly, right? As soon as it's safe to do so, see if they're okay. Watch out for falling ice, especially in those areas like Kentucky was prone to those ice storms. Just like in the movie, they really do. It can kill somebody, and black ice can kill you. When you slip on black ice, you're gonna feel like you got hit by an NFL lineman. It sucks, and if you're an elderly person, you break a hip, you're in trouble. You're in really bad trouble at that point. So be careful with the ice. If you live in those areas that are prone to that, make sure you've got some sand or ice melt or kitty litter or whatever it is that you're allowed to use in your area to create that traction and hopefully melt the ice. But be very, very careful with ice. I've slipped a few times. It sucks. It sucks when you go down hard. And I'm not kidding you when I say you're going to feel like you got hit by an NFL lineman. It is like hitting frozen concrete. It's not a good time. Let me check your chat one more time. Then we're going to start to wind this one down and leave you with a good message for the day. We'll check the poll and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Whoops. From everything. Yeah, wood stove is definitely good to have. Windbreak for your livestock. Yep. Yep. Please be mindful of your pets, folks. Very, very important here. We value our pets here on this channel. Saskia Prepping, hope you're having a good Friday. Good to see you, my friend. Yep. And like I said, if it's, it's probably too late now for this year, but if you have outdoor pets, let them develop that winter coat a little bit. Don't shave it down. Don't, first thing in the fall when it gets a little bit cold, don't immediately throw on their sweaters and stuff like that. Let them build up that winter coat. And then you can add those when it's needed, when it really does get really cold. And also think about for the dogs, I know it sounds funny, but they sell those little booties for the snow too. Like their paws can get frostbite just like a human can get frostbite. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you sharing all those links out. Yep, good. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. Cool. Yep, and that's usually what it is, right? Like a life experience is usually what gets people prepping. Always good to have some tarps and some roofing nails and things like that. Extra buckets. Buckets is a great prep, right? For all kinds of different reasons. Collecting rainwater, if you have a leak in your roof, if you have to make a makeshift toilet. Pines will break. Yep, Mike's right there. Pines will break very easily. Oaks will do a little bit better. But when oaks and hardwoods fall, they're also they're usually house crushers basically. But pines break really really easy. And what is it in there? What's the type of pear tree that breaks really really easy too? Like they usually recommend if you what's the put it in chat, guys. There's a pear tree that if it's growing on your property close to your house, they usually recommend just cut it down. It's not good. Yep. Yeah, and if you guys have basements, think about you if you need a sump pump for flooding. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for sharing all those links. Awesome. Yeah, antibiotics are I mean, I'm not one of these people that would be like, oh, modern medicine, but not at all. I believe in my world, there's a place for modern medicine and natural remedies, right? And antibiotics, make no mistake, has probably saved more lives than anything else that we've ever created. Antibiotics have probably saved the most lives in the history of the planet for humans and pets, actually. Yep. You just stack them up, put them in your basement or in your attic or closet, whatever you got. Cleveland pear, Bradford pear. I think it's the Bradford pear that I was thinking about. You want to, if you've got a Bradford pear near your house, it's usually recommended to just go ahead and cut it down. Welcome back, Orlando Prepper. Pine trees are snapped from the top of our house. Yeah, if you've got pine trees close to your house, at least trim them. You got to be careful with those flowering pears. I think it was the Bradford pears that I was thinking. Somebody else said poplar trees too, to watch out for those. Vanessa Kitty, it's good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Subdog, the person that I recommend is definitely check out Orlando Prepper's channel. He's got tons and tons of videos about comms. I'm going to add a CB to my vehicle. I've been meaning to do that. Hey, Wayne, it's good to see you. Appreciate you. All right, let's go ahead and check the poll. No prickly pears. I actually want to plant prickly pear cactus or a couple of them around here. That's on my list. All right, let me go ahead and check your. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me check your poll here. Hang on one second. See what you guys said. All right, 93% of you said you are prepared for a 3-day snow in. I like it. I like it. Good stuff. All right, I want to end here with one last thing, and just to touch on the mental health piece of this. Winter's hard for a lot of people. As somebody who works in the field of mental health, we know depression increases this time of year, and we don't usually see the end of that cycle until spring. And then in the mental health world, there's this like spring awakening that happens where people's minds get very, very active, and we see other things happen, like people who are prone to mania. That tends to increase. But for the winter time, the blues kick in for a lot of people. So really, really important, even though it sucks when it's cold outside, you got to get that natural light. You got to try to get some natural light. So that the best thing to do is try to get outside and get at least 20 to 30 minutes outside, just walking around your property. That's fine. I know it's cold. I get it. But your brain needs that natural light to stimulate serotonin and dopamine. Okay. When you're inside the house during the daytime, consider opening the shades to let a little bit of that natural light in as well. That will help, but it's not going to be the same as getting outside and doing 20, 30 minutes outside in direct sunlight. Okay. So please heed my advice on that. I know winter can be tough for a lot of people. I don't want to see anybody. We don't want to lose anybody in this community to something that's preventable. All right. So take that seriously. Even though it's cold, even though we don't want to go outside, 20 to 30 minutes, bundle up. It's good for your mental health. The fresh air helps too, by the way, as well. All right, folks, I thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, everybody in chat, for adding all the great tips in there. If you're watching this on replay, I do recommend you turn the chat on because there were some really good conversations going on in there. And I will see you next Friday, I think. Yes, next Friday I'll be live again. Don't forget to check out Mike's video in the bingo collaboration. And when you go to the store this week, pick up your copy of Backwoods Survival Guide and then go immediately to page 58 to read my article. All right. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge. Thanks for the help, mods. I really appreciate you all.